Move on to the high-risk machinery now. That's the circular saw for one, which obviously you need special training for, which HME can provide for you under data registration. Our particular circular saw has many features over and above those already on the market, and it's priced reasonably at the mid-range, though it is high grade. It has micro switches fitted so that guards can't be removed, or if they are removed, it turns the saw off. We've obviously got a key switch that is required so that nobody else but the key holder can use it. It's got a very strong 4 horsepower motor, which in most schools will be more than enough for what you need to cut it for. And that gives you a full depth of 105 millimeters, with other saws in the range only cutting up to 85 or 90 in depth. Having a big 4 horsepower motor as well means that it won't stall and you'll get nice cuts all the way through. It's got torque so that you can push the wood through and you won't get the seabed effect. It comes with a crane guard with a fitted dust extraction on it, where 60% of the wood dust is created at that cutting level, so that takes all the dust away, especially now with a lot of schools using MDF and hardwoods. With the wood dust extraction, you should be looking to start at wear and tear protection at 80 dB. Most circular saws are running close to 75, 78 dB, and dust extractors, depending on which one you have, will also be running around that. So you are going to be up and around the 80 dB. It's then depending on the process that you're cutting, whether it's a rip cut or it's a cross cut. Thickness of the wood and things like that will all take it in. But you can get an app on most iPhones now so that you can have a look at it. But you should be looking at 80 decibels where you start looking to see whether or not you should be wearing it full time, and 85 decibels where it's compulsory. Okay, this is the Union Circular Saw. 4 horsepower motor, as we said. It's got a foot stop fitted in case of emergency, which is latchable. So when it stops, if somebody comes to the machine, then it has to be reset, and that can be done by pulling out. There's also a secondary emergency stop along the saw, so if anybody's walking down the side of the saw, they haven't got to reach back through the wood to take it. The start-stop buttons are on this side. You've got the start and the stop, and then we've got the rise and fall of the blade, which goes to a full 105 millimeter cut. We'll put that back in the safe position, and then with this you have a handle which works the tilt arbor, which fits on here and tilts the blade up to 45 degrees. Once you've set the blade to where you want it, it can then be locked off in place, and there's a little locking screw there that you do up, which is in place. As we said before, with this machine you need an actual key to use it, so no matter how hard I try, I can't turn the machine on until the key is engaged in there. Other features of this circular saw, obviously you've got the cross-cutting fence, and there's a sliding table which is easily engaged. The plus point at this stage with this cross-cutting table is that there's no friction between the blade or the bed, as it fits directly to the blade, as on a lot of saws you get a cantilever movement which is fitted to the side of the saw. And that slides all the way through to the point where you pass the blade and then it stops. With the rip and fence itself, you can set this angle up to anything up to 45 degrees, and you will notice that here there is a stop so that you cannot push the guard into the blade. That stop there stops the guard going into the blade, And then we've got an automatic 90-degree set stop, which if you don't want it and you want to take it back to 45 this way, that just rolls down out of place and then it comes back and you can set your angle on here. Put that back in position and then everything locks up in position. With this particular machine there's a micro switch which is fitted at the end, which you have to activate so that you can remove the guard. When the guard's removed, that gives you full access then into the blade without being able to turn it on from the side. Obviously, with any maintenance that you're doing with any of these saws, you would always isolate it at the emergency stop and at the wall at the isolator so that there's nothing in there. You'll find that on many of the other saws, it's just a little plate that comes away and you're all crunched up getting your actual tooling in and everything to get it out. With this, it's nice and easy. So the guard goes back in position and you reset the micro switch. That's this side with the cross-cutting side of things. And then if you want to put the bed back in its fixed position, quarter turn, and that locks in. The rip fence that we've got, you would obviously take the cross fence off and use the rip fence. And with this, you've got a rough guide and a rule on this side, and you can move it in to the crane guard, which has got its own extraction fitted, as you can see. And with this particular guard, if you've got any thin pieces that you want to do and you can't get the guard in far enough, it does actually come all the way off. It turns round. Fits back in and locks in position so that you can get it right into the blade there. Okay then, I think we're going to show it doing some cuts now, but I need to go and get some safety glasses first. Okay, we can now insert the key to activate the machine. As you can see, it's a specialist key that once it's in and turned, you cannot remove it until you turn the machine off. So in and turn and you activate, the machine will now work. I activate the machine. Standing to one side. With the circular saws, obviously, as with anything, you need eye protection. Anything could fly off or come through, and protective clothing is always best. Obviously, it's not the dust that you get on your clothes, it's when you take it to the dinner table. If you're not wearing something to protect your clothes, then that's how most people get the dust into their system through their hands and mouth, rather than when they're actually using the machine, they take it away from the area on the clothing.